want to welcome everybody to another episode of Tales from the Jails. We got a special guest, once again, someone who, did a lot of time in prison. Someone who you may have heard about with a group of guys who are out here, doing what they had to do to provide for themselves. Some may have said it was wrong. Some may have said it was right. But, we have our guy here, KEV Black, on the show today, who is going to speak to us about his life and what got him in prison and how he has changed his life around and how he is feeling today. What's going on with you, Kev? How's everything, man?
Everything, man. Praise be to Allah. I'm here. I'd like to thank you and your organization for having me here.
Appreciate that. Like
I was telling you, this is my first podcast. I had many offers, but something rang true to me through this one. So,
yeah.
And I said, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw you. I was going through some tooth problems, man. I had tooth pain. I'm in line. I see you. I can't even figure it out. I'm in line. I'm like, that's the old head, man. I gotta start say something to him. So I started popping, a couple of Tylenols, and then I'm putting the Ambroxol on my tooth in the doorway. You come walking out. I say, hey, Assalamu alaikum, but I had to talk to you. So I'm glad we got you here. So, you're from Philadelphia, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And you, you spent a lot of time in prison, but can you elaborate what you can about what led to you going to prison?
Well, it's public knowledge. I'm one of the founding members of the JBM. For those who don't know what that acronym means, is just blowing money. When we started it, that's what it was called, just blowing money. But the federal government decided to give themselves their own title, and they call it the Junior Black Mafia. So. Oh
wow! So that wasn't something that y'all came up with. That was just something that they flipped that and made it the Junior Black Mafia.
They flipped it. They used the snitch to go on Channel 6 News behind a screen, and he said that he was the founder and the leader of the Junior Black Mafia, and that's how that got out, off of TV. But when we came together, it was just blowing money, because that's exactly what we were doing.
Wow.
Wow. Making it and blowing it,
So just blowing money, not Junior Black Mafia. So how did you feel when you saw that? Like, you saw that interview, you saw him say that. What was going on in your mind when you saw him flip that to,
Well, first and foremost, I knew who it was. I knew I'm not going to give him any props to saying his name, but I knew exactly who it was. My daughter's mother, actually, I was asleep. She woke me up, and she said, "Look at this." So I'm looking at the TV, and then I'm sitting there, hearing this story, this elaborate story that he put together, that he was a part of the first Black Mafia, and the Junior Black Mafia was formulated from the nephews, the grandsons, and of the first Black Mafia, and he decided to put that together, and now you have the Junior Black Mafia. It was crazy, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't like I could get to him after that, because he was a federal witness, But it was crazy. He, and it grew like wildflowers, man. No matter what we said, no matter what we told people, we was the Junior Black Mafia.
It stuck to you.
It stuck.
But now you hear them say this, Junior Black Mafia, but you said at first y'all was just blowing money. So let's talk about the money for a minute. If you can elaborate, what were y'all doing to make money, to blow money? What was y'all doing? What was y'all expertise as far as getting money and blowing it?
Import and export drugs. That's it.
What kind of drugs was it? Like, what was it? Cocaine?
Anything that can get you high, we sold it. Anything that can get you high, we had our hands on it. Yeah, we did take some of the money and open businesses, try to do some legal things. But it was just all about money. It was all about drugs. That was it. We fled the neighborhood. We fled the East Coast and some parts of the West Coast with drugs.
Wow. And this the JBM was started by yourself, and who else was the co-founders of it?
Myself, as people know, Aaron Jones. Leonard Basil, Mark Casey, who's passed away. We covered parts of the city, you know what I mean? But it was only 5 of us that sat at the table.
Because it seemed like, you know, for me, like as a kid, it seemed like everybody was part of the JBM. It seemed like it was just like, you know, everybody,
All
mom,
over the city.
everybody, aunt, uncle. So it seemed like JBM was like 3 million strong, because it seemed like everybody was a part of JBM.
Well, that was a tactic. If you know, people know and understand. I know my brother and anybody that was incarcerated. That's a tactic that the federal government used. The federal government, they make any case that if they catch a guy with drugs, or you JBM. You know how many guys I ran into in the state penitentiary who had JBM in their records, and I don't know them, never knew them. Know people that don't know, you know, other people that don't know them. They was just caught with drugs, or a homicide was committed while they had drugs, or it was over drugs, and to sensationalize it in front of a jury, you say JBL.
Yeah,
you know.
That's crazy, because I had a old head. He used to always say, like, you know, because I know JBM was so worldwide as far as or citywide. Have you on East Coast, West Coast, whatever. My guy Tracy Godown, he used to always say he was down with JBM. I'm JBM. We used to always do this back in the day. So I always said to him when I was a little younger.
Well, Tracy Godown, I'm gonna give him his props. He was he was out of JC's crew.
Okay.
You know, so he ain't lying to you.
Okay.
You know, like he never sat at the table, but he was a part of JC's crew.
Yeah, shout out to Godown. Godown is a real good dude too. A real good guy, man. Now, you guys at the height of your career, as far as JBM goes, just blowing money, Junior Black Mafia, whatever they want to call it, but we're gonna stick to just blowing money. That's what it originally was.
Yes.
So just blowing money at the height of that, what was the revenue? What was the numbers that was coming in every week, or you know, daily off of what y'all was doing in the streets?
I'm gonna just say this, you know, because it was a while ago, and it was so much coming in. To be able to determine like what was coming in a week, you know, I'm not giving no, you know, I'm not boasting or bragging about anything,
Yes.
but I was surpassed that, keeping track of what was coming in every week. My thing was to engineer it and make sure them people get their money, so we can keep afloat. So, you know, millions of dollars. Let me put it to you that way: millions of dollars.
Wow.
Millions.
And once again, we're not promoting this. We just
Exactly.
getting the facts out there to the streets. We're not promoting, you know, going out here selling drugs and anything of that nature. We're just getting the facts out there, just to be clear.
And
So
getting the facts out of their feet entails what led to jail ultimately.
yes.
Exactly. Disclaimer.
Yep.
We definitely got a disclaimer.
So you guys are making millions of dollars a week. You know, everybody's wanting to be a part of JBM or claiming to be a part of JBM. At what point did you know that the feds or the police was on you?
Well, let's say this: for years, I want to say from '84 to possibly like 80, 87, the police knew nothing about us. We had a free reign of just making money. Nobody knew about the JBM. You know, we was just some guys that had the package.
Yeah.
You know, but as time went on, they started, you know, hearing about us. I could tell you a funny story. Mark Casey, good close friend of mine that passed away. He had a apartment that they would go to and hang out. The feds found out about this apartment. So I was just around the corner at a bar, you know, chasing, and I walked around to the apartment, not knowing that the feds is in there. And anybody that come to the door, you know, they're grabbing them. So I'm standing at the door, I rings the bell and turn my back to the door. When I turned back around, it was an M16 in my face. and the cop was telling me to come on in, step in. But the moral to the story was they locked us up, and they had this is when I first found out they had a task force strictly for us.
Yeah.
They took us down to this task force. Matter of fact, it was downtown. It was an old fire station downtown. Donardo's, I don't know if you remember the restaurant Donardo's, was right across the street from it.
Nah.
It was a popular restaurant back in the day for the Italians and for us to go to. They took us down to this task force. And I mean, I seen all the different players in the city, pictures on the wall. And we sitting in there, and I hear the cop saying, "Who's black?" He's asking the guys that they pulled out of the house, like, "Who's black?" And he was like, "Black? I don't know no black. I don't know who black is." They were like, "We trying to find out who black is." So he was like, "We don't know no black. We don't know no black." So I'm in the back room. They asking me. I said, "Look, I know them guys from playing football in the school. I was just coming around, just to hang out with them."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Well, these guys, these are some bad guys. They selling drugs and this and that, and they got they're part of a gang." And I was like, "Sir, I didn't know anything about that."
Yeah.
So he said, "All right, well, you can go." So I'm walking out of the police station, and they got right by the door. They got everybody that they took. It was 4 of them that they took out the apartment. I was the 5th one, and one of the guys, I'm not gonna say his name. He was a little intoxicated. He was like, "All right, black."
They just asked where black at.
And I turned around and I looked at him, but they didn't hear it.
Wow.
They didn't hear it, and I jetted out the door. So that I say that to say that things was going on. I was dead in it. I was doing my thing.
Exactly.
But they never knew who certain people was, so they was just putting things together from there.
So, making up in the streets, doing what you're doing, you're making money, because I just gotta ask, because people like to know these type of things.
Yeah.
What was the cars and stuff like? What was the like? And this was the 80s, right? What was the hottest car out like in 80, 87, 88? What was like that car? Like everybody seen this car. This was the,
Well, I mean, that's all we drove was foreign cars.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true, because I like the Cadillac every now and then, But at that time, one of the hottest cars that people drove was the Saab. Convertible Saabs came out. And everybody was grabbing them convertible Saabs. Only thing made our cars different from everybody else is that we took them to New York to get the MCM, the Louis, all that inside of it. Dapper Dan personally did our cars for us.
Oh, wow.
So that's how we separated ourselves from everybody else. You might go get a side with BBS's on it, but you ain't got a side with BBS's where your seats is piped out in Louis, or something like that, or MCM.
So the side, what else was it?
The Benz, you never go wrong with a Benz. You know what I mean? Some of us like Cadillacs, the big Cadillacs. Every now and then you might have somebody go jump out there and grab a Rolls Royce, but when we say, "Yo, take that back to the dealership." You know what I mean?
Now, you traveling to New York, getting your cars done. At that time, it was like guys like Alpo, AZ, Rich Porter, and these guys, all getting money at the same time around the time that y'all was doing what y'all was doing. Did you ever have any run-ins with these guys?
Well, Alpo, I ran into Alpo. You got to remember that back then, it was respect all over. If you was a hustler, you was a hustler. It wasn't no hate.
It wasn't like how it is today.
No, it wasn't no hate. You know what I mean? This is how we came together.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up together in schools and all that. We seen each other out playing, doing what we doing, and we sat down and said, "Damn, what's going on? That's my man. He got this part of the city. He's doing this somewhere."
Yeah.
And then we decided to come together and formulate, because we felt as though coming together and uniting and organizing will get us greater money than people doing individual things. So, you know, those guys, I ran into Alpo. Alpo was close with one of the founders. I've actually rode with him. You know what I mean? There's a scene in New Jack City where they're riding around in a one of those Jeeps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we did that with him. He had a Jeep, and we rode around. And at the time, he was having some beef with some Jamaicans in New York in one of the projects. In one of the projects. And you know, we rode around with him, but you know, I decided against getting involved in because I didn't like his energy. I didn't like his energy. So, you know, I told my man, no, we're not getting involved in that.
Now, what about you know, Rich Porter?
I never had the pleasure of meeting those Rich Porter or the other one.
AZ, okay.
AZ.
Yeah, because I know a lot of Philly guys, you know, bands though. New York is like right there. Then you got, you know, Baltimore and all that.
Yeah.
So you guys had ties to New York, Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any notable names in Baltimore that you guys was you know, affiliated with or knew?
Well, I don't really want to put their names out there.
Okay.
You know, but we was there. You know, we was there. Baltimore. Yeah,
DC right there.
DC, Detroit. You know. So
Yeah.
I don't want to put them guys' names out.
Yeah, I respect that. We don't want to be on that type of time putting anybody's names out there because maybe some things that aren't uncovered. We don't want to uncover them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So now you guys are getting money, and then notable your partner. You know, the one who everybody he's currently on death row right now, I believe.
Who? Aaron?
Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
AJ.
Yeah.
What type of man was AJ? What type of guy was he? For those who don't know him, because you hear a lot of stories about AJ, Aaron Jones, and then can you kind of elaborate on what type of person he is?
Yeah, I'm gonna elaborate on him, but I also want to let people know that the federal government, and we all know, they play vicious games. And a lot of society don't understand and don't know that. In order for them to make a RICO or CCE, which is continuous criminal enterprise, to stand, you got to always pick a leader. If you ever seen the setup on that they have, you're never gonna see 4 or 5 dudes at the top and then guys under the bottom. You're gonna only see one at the top, and then people go up under it. You might have 2 here,
a
you
pyramid.
might have 5 there. It's a pyramid.
Yeah.
The federal government does that for the reason of making potential jurors to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And also, that's how they bring that RICO Act. They can't bring it no other way. You understand what I'm saying? So this about Aaron Jones being the boss of JBM is fabricated.
Wow.
We all were bosses.
Wow. So
we all were in charge of our own sections of the city. Not one decision was made that we didn't come together and make. You know, so they made this man out to be the big bad wolf. He was the boss. He ran. He told everybody to do what they had to do, which is a lie. And the reason for them doing that is because of his connection to a federal agent by the name of Jesse Cole.
wow.
That was his brother-in-law. So they used that as, okay, he's the boss. We're going to make him out to be the boss. Because he didn't have nothing no different than anybody else had. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't live his life no different than none of us. We all lived it in the same fashion. You know, so people don't understand that. He's sitting up on death row because the federal government decided to make him, you know, the boss of the JBM.
Pull your mic a little closer if you can. So he wasn't the top. He was just one of the top guys.
One of the founders. Yeah, we sat down and put that together. You know, if he was, that's my man. I'm gonna give him his props. It's nothing they can do to him.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do. They can't come back and reopen nothing and say this and that. You know what I'm saying? So if that was his role, I'm gonna give it to him. But that wasn't his role. You know, we all had that role. The ones that sat down and put that together and took the certain sections of the city. You know, West Philly was his. Southwest was his.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, that's always been a lie. always been fabricated, but that's how the government play. And these kids out here need to understand that. It's called by any means necessary.
For them. They gonna get you by any means.
By any means. They gonna, like my man tell you, you know, they'll throw a bunch of stuff up on the wall and whatever stick.
It stick.
That's it.
All I need to get is one. Just need one thing to stick.
Because you're going up in front of a so-called juror of your peers. And these people don't know nothing.
These people is from counties, Hicktown.
Yeah.
This is not people of our peers is North Philly in a struggle. You bringing in people that probably never even seen black men till they came to the inner city. Only black men, only on TV.
And let me say this. We supposed to have been this notorious drug organizations, but none of the jurors was secluded during any of our trials.
So explain that for people who don't know.
All right, when you have even the Italian mob, they seclude the juror where they can't go home. They're in a hotel. They don't get access to the news. They don't get access to newspapers. None of that. They can't call home and talk to their family about the case. They don't even want them to talk amongst each other unless they're in the jury room about the case. None of our jurors were secluded. Everybody was able to go home, turn on the news, read the newspaper, and talk about what's going on. So now you got the media, you know,
influence in the way they think.
Influence everything that comes in. Oh, you know, then you might have during a trial, you might have somebody just killed somebody over here. Oh, JBM murder just happened over drugs. So
now they looking at y'all like they just seeing this stuff going on, and like you said, JBM spread like a wildfire.
Exactly.
So everybody who was claiming to be JBM, they linking y'all to that.
That's it.
Subconsciously, and like they're a part of that.
Right. They have something to do with that.
Wow.
So you can't win under them circumstances.
Let me ask you a question. Now, so the feds, or did you do fed time or state time, or both?
Well, I had state, but I chose to run my fed times with the state.
Okay.
So I did all my time in the state.
Okay. Now you said from 84 to 87, they didn't know who you was, right? They didn't know who y'all was.
Right.
When was it that y'all said, oh, they on us? Like, oh, they coming for us? When did you know that?
That's when his brother-in-law.
Oh, he informed y'all.
He said that your name is starting to ring.
You're on the radar.
Yeah. So that's when we knew that, okay, they paying attention.
So what was your mind state? Was like, man, listen, I'm doing it. I ain't stopping. You know, I'm gonna try to just tighten up what I can. What was your thinking pattern at that time?
You said it exactly. You know, everybody, you know, don't come to the mindset of, oh, I'm getting out. When you got your hands in so that much money, and you doing the things that you doing, the first thing come in your mind, I got to tighten up. I got to fix things.
Exactly.
I'm not going to stop. You know, I'm going to fix it. But then people don't understand that I had people under me that depended on me to feed their families. You understand what I'm saying? I may come to a person's house and they kids, Uncle Black, Uncle Black, Uncle Black.
Yeah.
So now if I stop this guy here and I know that he's not doing what he's supposed to do with his money. He's not doing what I'm doing. He's not buying businesses. He's not putting money up, stashing money here. All he doing is living for the moment. I know it. He's a good dude. I love him.
Yeah.
Loyal. You understand what I'm saying? So if I was to get out the game, like I've told this story to my one or two comrades that it was a point where I was done. I said, I'm done. I'm out. But I made the mistake of riding past one of my soldiers' house, and his kids came to me, and I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, how you looking? What's going on? What you got put up? Oh, well, I got this coming in over here. You know, I said, no, what do you have put up? Can you go touch $1 million right now? No. Can you touch 100,000? No.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Tales from the Jail. I have a special announcement to make. We have partnered with the company TNS Licensing and Consulting. For those of you out there who have an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree, and you're looking to work in a field where you can make over $100K a year, Yeah, I said it, $100K a year. The business is working in the medical field. If you're really serious and you have these degrees and you want to put them to use, you might have went to school, you have all this debt from going to college and you're now working somewhere where you're not sure, what you want to do in your life, or you're working somewhere in which you didn't go to school. You're working somewhere where you don't want to be. We have something for you where you can make over $100K a year. And it's going to be in a field in which you get to deal with those who have mental disabilities. If you're serious and you want to get on track, get your life in order, pay off your debt, contact us, 267-982-0342. That's 267-982-0342. The number's right here. You see the number right here. Reach out to us. Call today.
So that means he's going to drown. He's going to drown.
Well, the pressure could get to him where it's not saying that he would do it, but
yeah, that too.
That mind that crosses their mind, like, hold up, I gotta get out. I ain't making all this money, so I gotta get up out of here by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Now, AJ's brother-in-law tells y'all, hey, listen, the feds is on y'all. Like, we gotta tighten up. You looking around, so he said, you see people around you that you don't know if they can withstand you not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. So that prompts you to keep going.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the reason why you got caught up in it, or you thought it was coming anyway?
Both. Because I knew it was coming. One thing I could always, about me, I'm a realist. Mm-hmm. Always been. I didn't just think about the hustle. I always thought about what was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like them, I knew they was there. The wolves, was there. I always played that out. Some people will say, well, damn, you played that out. Why didn't you get out? That's my reasons for not getting out. Because I had things I had to do. I had people I had to take care of. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, I always knew it was coming. I didn't know when it was coming. I didn't know how it was coming, but it was coming. Yeah. I chose to do what I do.
All right, so they're coming. And you see the signs. You're dealing with all the people around you and what they got going on. The feds. It was the feds that came got you, or the state.
Feds and state. It was a task force.
So where were you at when they grabbed you initially?
Well, they came looking for me for this bogus homicide that it took me 34 years to prove my innocence with that. Mm-hmm. They came looking for me for that, and I went on the run. But in the same time, I was negotiating because they kept kicking in my family's doors. And I told them, I told my lawyer, you go to them and let them know, I'm nowhere in the city. Why are you keep kicking in the doors of families that I'm not there? Mm-hmm. So he negotiated with them. I turned myself in. And I got out on bail. Did something that unheard of.
Yeah, nobody get out. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because you ain't getting out on homicide in Philly now.
Oh, and it was for a homicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had one of the worst DAs, Roger King. So, but I had one of the best lawyers in the city. Money could buy, Joe Santaguida. So he got me bail, and I got out on bail. And when I got out, I'm gonna be honest, I was setting up to go. I was out. So I had a lot of support, because we made a lot of people a lot of money. And they liked how we moved, so they said, well, you can come with us. We'll take care of you. And I was lining up to leave, and I just stayed one night too long. I had my tickets and everything. And I was at an apartment, and there was a situation about a car with a dude. I don't want to mention his name, but his car was taken, and it was, and still to today we don't know if, and I'm not gonna put him out there and say he told where I was at, but somehow they found out where I was at, and they came there and kicked the door in, and they locked me up right then and there, and took me back to jail. They found some guns in apartment, and they took me back to jail, and I didn't see the street since.
Wow.
Until now.
So you got life in prison. Well, you did time in prison. It wasn't for a conspiracy or the JBM. It was for a murder.
Supposedly a JBM murder. Yeah, I had a life sentence. I had actual life. But it was for supposedly a JBM murder. They made up some stuff about, because I hustled out of Richard Island projects. The kid that was killed in the projects, and his friend was shot. Mm-hmm. And because I hustled there, they fabricated this story that I did the murder. Me and my co-defendant did the murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it took 34 years to prove. They falsified documents. They had someone who confessed to the crime. Mm-hmm. The person that they said that was shot, they were saying that he signed statements. He's saying he never signed any statements. It was just so much technicalities, but that same old thing came to light. By any means necessary, we're gonna get you off the streets.
And that was, you didn't, all this was going on after the 34 years later, when they found out the truth and exonerated you.
What you mean?
Meaning you was going through all of what you was talking about just now.
Yeah, the appeals and all that. Yeah, all that while I was in car. I got indicted while I was in jail.
Oh, you got indicted while you was in jail for the murder.
I got indicted for the overall indictment. For this.
Oh, you was already serving time. Yeah. So let's rewind a little bit. So you go to fight this murder trial. Mm-hmm. And they had witnesses saying that you did it. So forth. No witnesses?
No witnesses.
No witnesses.
No witnesses.
Well, wow. And you end up losing. So what did they say was the reason for you losing this trial? Like how did you lose?
JBM.
Because the people.
I was labeled a JBM boss.
Wow. Now you fighting this trial, right? And did you think you had it beat? Thought you was gonna beat the case?
Yeah, because you got money. I'm putting out money.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're gonna frame me for a murder. No way. How you gonna put me somewhere I wasn't? But they did it. But see, I'm gonna tell you a quick funny story. While incarcerated, in my last, I'm gonna say my last 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years. People don't know I was at SCI Chester. I left from SCI Chester, and Meek Mill came there, and me and Meek became close through acquaintance, through one of his managers at the time, and we would get our visits together. And this particular day, he got his visits from his attorney, and I'm sitting in the visiting room, and one of his attorneys was Brian McMonagle.
Dave Meshack and him, I believe. It was Meshack, yeah.
So Brian McMonagle came out the attorney booth. I'm sitting there with his manager, Meek's manager, and my a friend of mine. And the manager gets up to shake Brian McMonagle's hand. And when he shook his hand, he turned around and introduced him to me. And as soon as he said my name, Brian McMonagle said, "I know him." So I asked, "Well, how do you know me?"
Yeah.
He said, you were a member of the JBM. He said, your name and your crew's name was all we heard in the DA's office. He was a DA before he became a lawyer.
Wow.
And he said, I'm going to tell you this. He said, in y'all cases, there's skeletons in the closet in y'all cases. And he said, I'm going to also tell you, no matter how much money y'all spent to fight, it was already set that y'all was going to jail. He said it was already set. DAs, judges, everybody. It was already set. Any one of these guys we know that's the founders or a heavy player in the M, they're going to jail. We're not letting them leave.
Wow.
So I say that to say, like these kids today, Y'all don't understand. It's stacked against you.
Exactly. And another thing the kids don't really understand is, I want to ask you a question. I ask this question all the time. What was the feeling like when they said life or guilty and then life in prison? What was that feeling like? What on you mentally? Like, how did you feel to hear that?
First thing was denial. Denial set in. Like, no, this ain't. And then I think to myself, I say, well, damn, life is 20 years. I was under that impression. 20 or 25 years, But it was just like, it was denial. I couldn't, I don't think it actually set in until I got upstate.
He talk about that all the time.
But this goes to some questions that I wanted to ask him. When they came and got you and you made the bond, you posted bail, how old was you then?
21.
Oh, so you was young. Yeah. You was relatively young.
21,
yeah.
20 years old.
You was 21 years old. So the day, when you stayed an extra day too long and they came and got you, you was still 21.
Yeah, like 20, 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with that being asked, upon going in there, did they send you like upstate road? That's where you had to wait to do your trial at and all that stuff like that? Okay.
Was that Holmesburg at the time?
Holmesburg, yeah.
Okay.
Holmesburg. I went from Holmesburg to Pick.
Okay.
Yeah. All
right, so now, how long exactly did it take you to go to trial? You had to sit on state road for you to go fight this.
I want to say about no longer than 6 months.
Man, that was fast. They worked it fast back then.
Yeah, they was getting
now them homicides, you be sitting on state road 3-4 years.
Yeah, 2-3 years.
I had 2 homicides and I sat for 3.5 years.
Yeah, like 6 months. I was, on trial.
So now, like my brother said, okay, he asked you was in denial once you lost trial and you was sentenced and it was an actual life sentence that they gave you.
Yeah.
You was in denial. So now you go through the process of being ready to be transferred to a state facility.
Right.
Because the county jail is not where you would do life at.
No.
And this is what we tell the audience. That's just a holding facility until whatever the outcome of the case is. Now, upon you getting upstate, going to, how they say, because I've never been upstate before, going like they were saying that Camp Hill was intake.
Yeah. At that time, it was between Camp Hill and Graterford.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it dawn on you? At what point of the 34 years did you come to you in your mind and say, I'm in prison. I'm really in a place that I was never at in my life?
When I got transferred, I got kicked out of Graterford. Because Graterford was like no other. It was wide open. You wasn't in jail at Graterford. Only thing you couldn't do was leave.
And Graterford, so this I hear a lot of these stories. People had gaiters on and
yeah.
And they was
real money in their pocket.
Real money, Rolexes, gators, whatever. It was the streets. Only thing you couldn't go out and get in your car and leave. Women, if you was that boy and you could pay, or you was just that boy, your women, you walk your women down the hallway for you. And you meet up somewhere. So sex wasn't nothing.
So they was in there. So I'm assuming it was drug.
Everything.
Women, drugs, jewelry. You said the only thing you couldn't do was hop in your car and leave.
That's it.
But I want you to continue about when did you realize that you was in adult jail with grown men that's violent men?
I realized it when, like I said, they kicked me out of Graterford and sent me up to Greene County Prison. Greene County Prison.
That was the life was at?
The border of Ohio. And when this day I hit that prison is when I realized that I got life. They want me to die in prison, and it's time to fight. Because my first 4 to 5 years, all I was doing was dishing out money to lawyers. That's all I was doing. But when I got there and everything was taken and stripped, it's time, okay, this is where you at, and this is where you're going to be at. Where you in a place where them white folks ain't never seen a black man.
Yeah. And I'm quite sure that out of 34 years, you done had your, because when I came in and was young, I didn't have no education when I came in. I say that a lot. I got in education in prison.
Yeah.
So I had to, but it came to a point that was, though I was 8-9 years into my bid, like, hold up. I'm actually going home one day. I don't want to leave out the same way I grew up.
Right.
And I want to ask you, when you tell the fans in the audience, like, how was time for you in there? Like overall, like 34 years, like, I know you seen some wild things, man. Like a man told us, Wallow told us, when he said when he went into the showers and he seen 30, 40 men, and we talking about not in the SCIs, in them penitentiaries, and it was normal. They was in there talking, washing up to each other. What happened in the game? Oh, I called my girl, like, and they butt naked.
Butt naked, yeah.
And like, this is like, how did that affect you? Like when you was going through this, like you're seeing this, like, is it something? Because I tell them from my point of view that you got to departmentalize in your mind. Exactly. You got to become what this environment is, just to make it. So, but I want to know from you, like, how did you departmentalize? What did you do to get through every day?
Well, first and foremost, you know, I'm gonna let it be known. You know, once I accepted Islam, you know,
heavy.
Islam gave me an outlook on life that was totally different.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, how to, you know, deal with certain situations, what I had to do to deal with them, what I had to do to get out of them. You know what I'm saying? So that's cut. You know, Islam was the basis of what gave me what I needed. So, but like he said, you know, going in these areas, you know, dudes taking showers, butt naked, you just learn how to, you know, you learn how to maneuver and flow, because first and foremost, it's your survival. You got to survive. And if you're a survivor, you know, that's all you know to do.
Yeah.
So now you put things together to move the way you need to move. You keep your circle tight, and you stay out of people's business. You mind your business, and do you. You know what I'm saying? So I just lived it like that, man. I just, you know, people will tell you that knew me when I first came in to now, they say, man, you still the same. You know what I mean? And I give all praise to Allah and Islam for giving me that.
Let me ask you a question. Another question. How old were you when you took your shahada? And what you know, Allah makes Muslims, but what was it for you that you felt guided you or brought you to Islam?
Well, before I left the streets, and I just told this story to one of my mentees, little brother I mentor. Before I left the streets, we all know that Masjidullah was on Ogas Avenue at the time.
Yeah.
And there was a sneaker store across the street.
Yeah, I remember that. Next to the deli.
Right. And that's why I used to go get my sneakers.
Yeah.
You know, I had a personal relationship with dude. He would call me if anything new and put it to the side, I'll come get it. So this particular day I went. And before that, I was, you know, curious about Islam. You know what I mean? Because where I grew up at in the Strawberry Mansion area, there was Muslim families, you know, moving around. So I always was curious about Islam, but I never would ask questions. You know, I just see how the Muslims was moving and, you know, things was going on. So at this particular time, I went to go get these sneakers. And I came out the sneaker store, and I just stopped, and I looked at the masjid. And I was like, man, you should go in. You know, you should go in. You know, we had the Motorola beepers at the time. My beeper went off. I looked, I said, I gotta go. And I went to jail like right after that.
Wow.
So when I went to jail, I was in the county, and I was in Holmesburg, and they used to come around, the Christians would come around with these pamphlets. They gave you these pamphlets. Then a couple of guys came in and gave me, a Bible. Here, brother, you know. So I'm sitting there, you know, I'm reading this stuff. I'm reading. I'm looking, I'm like, man, this ain't me. But I was raised a Baptist. You know, my father was a deacon in the church up until the day he died. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there and I'm reading this stuff, and it's not doing nothing for me. It's not fulfilling, you know, my questions and the questions that I had in my mind. So fast forward, I was kicked out of Holmesburg and sent to Pick. One of my codees was over at Pick, and they put me in a cell with him. Now, mind you, he was FOI, but at that time, they were praying like the Salafis, you know, going, you know, bowing down. So I woke up one night and he was prostrate.
Mm-hmm.
He was praying. So I asked him, I was like, what you doing? He said, I pray. I'm praying 5 times a day. So I'm asking him questions, but he can't answer the questions. So he go get a brother who's upon the sunnah.
Mm-hmm.
And that brother was telling me, what was going on. So I asked, could I read the Quran? And the day I picked up the Quran and started reading it,
Yeah.
I knew that's where I needed to be. So I was 22, 23 when I took my shahada.
Alhamdulillah. So now you in prison, as a Muslim, and you take your shahada.
Mm-hmm.
This was you didn't go upstate yet. You still you were still in the county. But like he said, you didn't understand the effects of prison or actually realize you were in prison until you said Green, which county was it?
Once I understood prison, I just didn't understand the fact that I was going to be there for the rest of my life. I didn't take it serious. You know what I'm saying?
That's when it
Until
dawned on you.
It dawned on me once I got to Greene County that all that stuff I was doing down Graterford, that was smoke and mirrors.
So what did you see, like the visual aspect of what was it that you saw that made you say, "Oh, this is"?
I gotta be here for life.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Tales from the Jails. I have a special announcement to make. We have partnered with the company TNS Licensing and Consulting. For those of you out there who have an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree, and you're looking to work in a field where though you can make over $100K a year. Yeah, I said it, $100K a year. The business is working in the medical field. If you're really serious and you have these degrees and you want to put them to use, you might have went to school, you have all this debt from going to college and you're now working somewhere where you're not sure, what you want to do in your life, or you're working somewhere in which you didn't go to school, you're working somewhere where you don't want to be. We have something for you where you can make over $100K a year. And it's going to be in a field in which you get to deal with those who have mental disabilities. If you're serious and you want to get on track, get your life in order, pay off your debt, contact us, 267-982-0342. That's 267-982-0342. The number's right here. You see the number right here. Reach out to us. Call today.
Yeah, getting up there, and I was walking the track one day when I got to Greene County. Greene County is a new prison, but you up there, you're going in yourself. It's like programmed. Graterford, there was no structure, no program. You were just there, and they locked you down at night. That was it. Woke you up in the morning, hit your door, and you fend for yourself. This joint was structured, and I got up there and I was walking the track with a friend of mine. And there was this big, humongous white boy. And he was a guard. And he was watching us walk around the track, watching us. So we pulled over. We said, "Damn, why you keep watching us?" And he told me, he said, "I've never seen black people in person before."
Wow.
That's when I knew.
Yeah, it done got all the way real.
It's real.
He said, "I've never seen a black person in person in the flesh before. Never before."
Never. And this dude was, I said, "Well, so what you do, what was you doing before you started working?" He said, "I worked on my family's farm." So all I do was threw bales of hay around and, fed animals and stuff like that.
So was he racist?
Nah, he was cool. I mean, we talked, we talked. You could see that his family didn't raise him on that. But the rest of them, nigga this, nigga that, we'll do this, we'll do that. We don't care who you are and what you was. They'll read your file and come and say, "We don't care about none of that." That's when I knew it was real.
Wow. So seeing that, how did that affect you? Like, was it something that you just, was it days where you was like, man, like, I just need to get out of here?
Every day. And a day go past that I didn't think that.
Another thing, this guy always talks about, man, because he's a love bugger. He always say, like, he always asks the question about the advice to a person out here who has a
significant other,
a wife, you got 10 years or more, are you telling her like, yo, go ahead, where you going at? I mean, you know, or
ride with me.
I left mine at the door
Why though? Tell me why.
because I didn't want the distraction.
See, but I wasn't sharp like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know to do that.
Yeah.
That took me. I got sharp like that 8-9 years in.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, you got to. Yeah, you can't be. Like I had a person up here one time. You got to become their friend. I want to being your friend now. I'm not scared of you telling me you dating because now I can give you advice on that.
Right.
Instead of me still trying to be your man, and the women they really be thinking that they can do the time with you.
Yeah, they do.
They be delusional, and then a year or two go past, and then they mad at you. You got me sitting here my life up, and I'm like, hold up, you agreed with me 2 years ago.
Exactly.
But they really don't. They going off of actual love. Like, I love you, so I ain't leaving you. But all right, you don't have to leave me, but you don't have to be my woman either.
Right.
I don't think a woman can do over 10 years with a man. And when I say do, now, if you there and you sending me money and you answering the calls when you can and you coming up when you can, all right, cool. I think a woman could do that. But to actually guard herself, block herself from other dudes, take care of your things, her things, no. And I'm not saying this is right because I think it, but I don't think that could be done.
It takes a certain breed. I've heard of stories, you know, where guys, but I don't know the underground. I don't know the behind the scenes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
But for the most stories you've seen in 34 years,
yeah.
what's the total outcome of a dude and his woman?
Oh, it's low. It's a low number. It's a low number. You know, my thing was like I had 4 children by 4 different women. So
at 21?
yeah, yeah, 4 different kids by 4 different women. So my thing, and we ain't even talking about the size, you know. We ain't even talking about the size. But the thing, my thinking was, you know, I'm in a fight for my life, you know. So do you, because I don't need that aggravation.
That's a hell of an aggravation there.
So I told my I said, listen, all I need you to do for me is to gather my children up on the weekends and bring them to see me, because all my focus went to them. All my focus went to my kids. And my mom, you know, she did the best that she can. You know, they moms wanted to come up, they would come. A lot of their mothers came up out of curiosity, like, you know, how this dude just cut me like that? What's going on?
They get to wondering.
Yeah, and the question was always, well, who you messing with? Who you dealing with? You know what I'm saying? And like, I ain't dealing with nobody.
But you know, they think sometimes, and I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, because a woman told me this. A woman will be mad you in jail. Your woman will be like, damn, I want him to come home or whatever. He got all that time. But they'll have some comfort also, especially if they know the type of man you are.
Yeah.
The comfort is, I know where you at.
Yep.
You ain't around no women. You ain't in there messing with no boys. So I'm not happy you in jail, but I'm comfortable with the fact that I can't get my heart broken.
Yeah,
selfish.
So they become selfish. Yeah.
If that makes any sense to y'all, I don't know if I can make it make sense any better, but some women be not comfortable with you in jail, but comfortable with the fact of knowing where you at and you ain't doing no foolery. Unless I got me a female guard, and that happens. I done seen it happen a lot of times, but it be selected few dudes that get that off.
Right. That ain't something everybody.
No, at all.
Yeah.
Wow. So, if you can explain what was you know, being in prison, of course, was a major loss in having life in prison. What was some of the some of the major losses, or what was the toughest phone call you may have got while you was in prison?
2007, the day after Father's Day. I didn't celebrate it, but that was on the calendar. It was the day after Father's Day. My 22-year-old son was gunned down in the city of Philadelphia.
Man.
That was the worst call I could receive.
How did they do it? Because you know how the chaplain will come get you, or
Yeah.
you'll know from being in prison how that call comes through, or unless you got on the phone and somebody told you.
No, it was like a real shock to me, because throughout my time I was always involved in the Muslim community. Always, you know, whether it was setting up for Ramadan, for Juma, and whatever it would, you know, it may have been. And always made sure that I had a relationship with the chaplaincy department in every facility I was in. This particular facility was SCI Frackville, one of the most racist facilities in the state of Pennsylvania.
It's like right near Mahanoy, right? They're right side by side.
Yeah. And they had a chaplain there. We had became close because they didn't have a Muslim chaplain yet. They had a brother named Muhammad that used to come in from Egypt. But long story short, this was just before Ramadan was getting ready to start. Mm-hmm. So when I got the call to come to the chapel, I'm thinking I'm going there about Ramadan. And I walked over and, he sat me down and he just, he gave me the phone. And it was my and my oldest daughter on the other end of the phone. And they told me that my son was killed. Yeah. That was the worst day for me.
And how old was he when you went in?
22. When he died,
no, I'm saying when you went in, how old was he?
I think little Kevin was about 3, maybe 4. Because I know he was probably like 4 because my oldest daughter was 6 at the time.
So your last real memories of interacting with him was you picking him up, whatever, just.
Well, no, once he started growing up, that was my man. That was my mirror.
Okay.
He would come and see me,
That's what's up.
He was a dude that I could tell, do this, and he would do it just like I said do it.
Wow.
Didn't have anything to do with the game, wasn't in the game. He listened to me when I let him know that this is not for you. Worked 2 jobs, was a party planner, and one of the little knuckleheads from the neighborhood went down to another neighborhood looking for his wife. His wife was down there screwing other dudes. So he just decided to shoot the neighborhood up. Came back up to where my son and them lived at. Didn't tell nobody. My son was giving out flyers, putting them in the doors for one of his parties that he was having that night. And this dude came up and shot the neighborhood up and hit my son. My son was the only one that got hit.
He was Muslim?
Lie. No. Nope. But that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And during my incarceration.
Let me ask you something. Do you think jail because I don't know your temperament of how you was before you went in, but do you think jail hardened your feelings towards like humanity until you get to know who this person is, or like do you think it's a clue like make you become like me? I'm not a people person. Like me and my brother gotta tell me all the time, and I don't do it to be disrespectful. I don't disrespect you or none of that. It's just that I'd rather stay clear until I know everything is cool before I step into the scene.
Exactly.
And I think prison made me like that. Matter of fact, I know prison made me like that. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you, do you think prison has hardened your feelings towards humanity?
Once again, Islam gave me the understanding that I needed to not allow it to harden me to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. We know in Islam that we bring some of our dunya characteristics, worldly characteristics with us, and they be good characteristics. Mm-hmm. Like able to walk in a room and read a room and see what's going on and know what's going on. That's a good characteristic. There's nothing bad with that. I wasn't too much of a people person when I was on the streets because of the fact that I had to always, make sure I was cool, make sure my back was covered, But once I accepted Islam and I started learning and reading, Islam allowed me not to allow that hardness to set all the way in. Now, definitely on point, watching, knowing what's going on, security minded, reading people
at an alarming rate.
At an alarming rate.
I do it by accident.
Yeah. It comes natural though.
Yeah.
It comes natural. That lets you know as well, let me know that you were serious about what you was into.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You take everything serious. Mm-hmm. Even the life that we was living before, and then we accept Islam, we take Islam serious. You know, so that's what it allowed me to do. So I don't think it hardened me to the point where like.
Or would say, do you think you bitter some? That's the question. That's what I should have asked you. Do you think you have a bitter like some? Because I don't think being bitter is a negative thing.
No, you can have bitterness in you, as long as you don't let it control you.
Okay.
You know, your bitterness can be a security mechanism.
Right.
You know, it can be a mechanism used where
Keep you on point.
On point, exactly. And a sucker or a lame that's going to try to get in your circle, they see that.
And they're shy away from that.
Yeah, it's a repellent. It's a repellent. Only a real dude going to talk to another real dude.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But when you come in with some game, you're going to say, man, listen, should I do this to myself? You know, or let me just go ahead and keep playing in the field that I play in. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Now let me ask you. You went to prison. You know, had the reality check of knowing, or realizing that prison is real, and that it was the opportunity. Well, it was the possibility you was going to spend the rest of your life there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the point where you knew that it was opportunity for you to come home.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you?
Well, throughout my whole bit of doing time, I always knew, you know in your mind you didn't do this crime.
Mm-hmm.
So you give some hope to humanity, hoping that people are going to say, well, damn, we know that this man didn't do this crime, so let's go ahead and try to help him. But it never came. You know, it didn't come. You know, people read my case and was like, man, why you here? You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. But I'm gonna get it to you raw. You know, and I don't want to get too religious, but I have to, because
it's the
this
truth.
is what got me through, and this is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I made dua every night. I would get up in the middle of the night, make dua. I would make this dua every time I prayed. And it was 3 things I asked Allah for. I asked Allah for my freedom. I asked Allah for a permissible halal wife. And I asked Allah for permissible means to take, well, it was 4 things. A permissible means to take care of my family. And I asked Allah to allow me to pray in the ranks of the Muslims in the masjid.
Alhamdulillah.
In society.
Yeah, that's the same type of dua I've made for years. Alhamdulillah. I feel that.
And Allah blessed me with each and every one of them.
So,
you know, once you get to that mindset, you know, nothing can come in between that. Yeah, I sat back and, you know, like I said, my first couple of years, I got money, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, they're gonna get me out, boom. Then when you realize and you start seeing good dudes that you met, they going home, you know.
What's that feeling?
Crazy.
It's not that you don't want them to
you
go
don't
home.
want them to go home, but
it's like, damn.
This a dude I walk with and told my personal, we rap, and he gone. You know what I mean? And if you're not a person that just gravitate towards anybody, the person that you gravitate towards, and they leave you done.
I was telling the audience not too long ago about the camaraderie that you build with certain men in there.
Yeah.
And I was telling them that for me, it's closer than probably my brother.
Right.
Like me and this dude done laid in oppression for years together.
Mm-hmm.
Like real live oppression where we around white people that never seen black people before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We've been in the cell, because when the feds go on lockdown, we be locked down on months on end.
Exactly.
They lock the whole jail down. Soon as something happen, so we in there. I'm a psychiatrist to this person.
Right. Right.
He a psychiatrist to me. He knows stuff about me that my own blood don't know. Mm-hmm. So dudes are like, how you come home and you cool with this dude? He from me and that dude built a bond in 8 years together. In an oppression that was crazy. Is it the same way for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like meeting, like when you say, I could tell I felt it in my heart when you said, when you see dudes go home, and it's not because of, man, I'm mad he went home and I ain't going. No, I want you to go home.
Right, right.
But a piece of me is leaving. That's like if I'm on the street and my man go to jail, I'm gonna be sad. Mm-hmm. So it's vice versa now. Mm-hmm. It's, for me anyway.
Yeah, it's a universal feeling. It's a universal feeling for real dudes, but then, on the flip side, you have some guys that, you let in a little bit, they make promises, You know, I went through that. You know, they make.
What's up with them dudes? I hate them the worst though. I ain't gonna sit up, man. I ain't holding no cut card for y'all. Y'all dudes some suckers, man.
Yeah.
And that's just it, man. You making all these pounds, but because now you showing me that it was ulterior motive. You wanted extra soup that night, nigga.
Right.
You telling me you know I'm ready to go out, boy. It's on. I'm gonna hit your hand. Give me 2 of them soups real fast. But I'm all because I let you in.
Exactly.
Yeah, but take 3.
Exactly.
But I'm quite sure you've been through that. Cause for you to even mention that, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You done dealt with a couple dudes. Yeah, black, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are dudes that you genuinely like. You know, like a lot of little fish get through the net sometimes.
Yeah, they do. That's what happens. That's the best term there. A lot of little fish get through the little guppies.
They get through. It's another, y'all ain't even supposed to be on this side of the net, man. All right, cool.
Yeah, so I had a few guppies that got through.
Got through the net.
Yeah, and I allowed them to get through, and they went home. You know, this and that, and it be because one of them. Well, I take it. One of the major reasons that they do that, because in the back of their mind, you ain't never coming home.
Damn.
And I ain't got to see you no more.
Yeah. I ain't even got to deal with you no more.
But that's not always true. Because I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you saw
back.
guys come right back in there.
They come right back, and I just look at them. You know, don't even part your lips.
I grinds their ass up.
Don't even part your lips. You know? No, man, I'm telling you. Yeah, okay.
Well, keep it real though. You still mess with him when he back. Because I just did this
gave him a
thing. Man, here you go, man. Because I already know you a creep, man.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded creep, man.
Yep. Still mess with him. But, you know, for the most part, I had a lot of good dudes, you know, that went home. You know, and it was simple, man. It be simple stuff that people don't understand. Like I tell my wife, when this phone ring and it's coming from a prison, we shut down.
I want to say a little something, man. You know, it's about a myth that goes on in jail, man, about a honey bun getting left on your bed or a Snickers or something like that. If that were to happen to an individual, that means someone is inquiring about some sexual activities or you owe them something. And for me, from my standpoint from being in jail, that's a myth. I ain't never see that go on. But what ain't a myth is we're doing these specials, man, and we want anybody to DM us that got a business that want their business promoted on our platform. I'm giving out this special deal for a long time to the people that supported me. I appreciate y'all, and I'm giving back, man. Whoever got businesses, women, men, hair salons, promoting food trucks or restaurants, man, I promote business, and I got a special going on right now. So DM me, man, and get at me. Tales from the Jails. It's Brahim Jackson.
Don't get into, I'm going to answer this phone and I'm going to give my man 15 minutes, whatever. If he called back half an hour or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So you make sure that's known. That's implemented in your life as of now.
That's we ain't doing that. You know, I could be on the phone with my man that's here with me now, and he'll tell you, I'll be like, yo, I got a prison call. All right, call me back.
Right.
You know, because I'm going to answer those calls.
Because you understand that.
Because I understand it. And if people don't understand, like, it don't be much, man. It just be the fact that I can say, man, what's up? What you doing? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm living through you. Give me that. Mm-hmm. I ain't calling you, because I never called nobody and asked for no money. Wallahi. Never called nobody and said, listen, I need you to do this and do that. I did mine from the muscle. Mm. You understand what I'm saying? Never called nobody and said, I need you to go drop money off to a lawyer or do nothing. So what are you hiding from my call for? Mm.
How important is it to keep your word? I mean, because we know in Islam, we have to keep our word.
Yes.
But a lot of people, it can go over your head sometimes. Or people have this thing where as though they kind of push it to the side. Mm-hmm. How important is it to keep your word to someone when you say you're going to do something for someone?
That's a flaw in your character.
Mm. That's hypocrisy, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
You know, if because it's too easy to say that I can't do it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just words or no. It's so easy. Just like I could say, yeah, I got you. It's so easy for me to say, well, listen, I can't do that, or no, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So when you get into misleading and lying, I can't trust you. Mm-hmm. I can't work with you. You know what I mean? So that means even before you got locked up, you was that way. During your incarceration, you stayed that way, and then you went home and you was still the same thing. You know, so I can't expect nothing no different from you.
Let's talk about the day you got. The day you knew you was coming home. Let's talk about that. Like how, like, all right, I'm getting out. How was that for you? Like, the day before, or that, how,
the week.
What was that feeling? Like, I'm getting out. I'm getting out of here.
Because boy, I almost passed out.
Well, first, first before you say that, how did you? What happened to allow you to be your judgment to be turned over or from to release you?
Well, my co-defendant name is Anthony Reed Mujahid, and he's on death row for some other cases, and he had been telling me, that listen, man, we got the issues, we just gotta get it in court. They keep denying it, I think it was Obama. Obama changed the laws about the time period where you can re-enter, resubmit your issues.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Obama did that, he submitted his issues in the courts. He sent them same issues to me. He said it was already set up in a brief. He said, submit this to the what is that? It was CIU. The thing that Larry Krasner put together. I can't remember. It was called the CIU.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's an acronym. Where they investigate your case when you put issues in. I sent that in to them. Then I sent it to a lawyer and I just asked him to read it. Just read this and tell me what you think. The lawyer I sent it to, he was getting ready to become second chair on the Defense Association. And he said, listen, you got good issues. He said, but I can't, it will be a conflict of interest. He said, I can't take your case. He said, do you mind if I turn it over to a young attorney, young, hungry attorney that I know?
Excuse me.
And I've always knew and heard from different people in jail, the best attorneys are those young, hungry attorneys instead of the old regime.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yeah, go ahead and give it to him. I said, go ahead and give it to him. Like a week later, main man hit me back. He said, you have very good issues. He said, I'm optimistic. He said, I usually don't take on these 30-year-old cases. He said, but I'm going to take yours on. He said, I'm going to submit everything I need to submit. You don't have to send me nothing. Because he's seen it right then and there. And he said, he fixed it up, changed the legal jargon and everything like that. And he submitted it and it hit the ground running from there.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember what the CIU stand for. It's going as soon as I get off this podcast,
you gonna remember.
Yeah.
So now, did you have to go back in front of the judge to be released, or something that they did and then they told you, hey, we letting you out?
Well, this is the thing, and I was laughing when y'all was saying about the week ahead. I didn't know I was going home.
What?
So he just came to your cell one day.
I was sitting on the phone, and
they rushes you off their yard when you get released and don't know.
Yeah.
They like speedball you.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Ain't no sit around. You getting out of here.
So what it was, I we was going through the appeal process, and the judge at the time, I don't think I should mention his name, but he's a popular judge. He started like he was like giving the DA's office a lot of time, to giving them a lot of time to go over the case,
build defenses and all that.
right? So we going back and forth. I never went down to court. They never took me down. My lawyer was going in and fighting these issues, and he just kept giving postponements after postponement after postponement, But it was cut and dry. I had the issues to deal with, to get out on, but I had no confidence in the system.
Wow.
I had no confidence. My confidence was so low in the system that my daughter was the only one that I told, what was going on with my case, that I was getting some traction. And I told her, don't tell nobody. Don't tell my mother, don't tell my sisters, don't tell anybody. And it was only because I had been in the process already of being denied. of putting in appeals that I think that was good appeals, and they was denying them. So I didn't want to take my family through that. So I told my daughter, and she was the only one going to court. And then a couple of the guys in the neighborhood, you know, they would say, well, we're going to go down with you. You know, they started going down, so they started seeing what was going on. And like I said, they set a court date for April the 6th, 2023. And they was just supposed to hear the issues. So this particular day, I was working. I was working in the laundry at the prison, and I went to work faithfully. But I went to work and I was sitting down there, and something said, "Man, go back to the block." So I told my supervisor, "I gotta go back to the block. I gotta take care of something." So I came back and I called my man. You know, I called him on the phone just to see what he was doing. So he said, "We down in the courtroom." So I said, "What you down in the courtroom for?" He said, "The judge called the emergency hearing." So I said, "Emergency hearing about, I supposed to go April the 6th. This is March 8th. He said, "Well, the judge called the emergency hearing. We down here. Your lawyer's down here. Your daughter's down here. You know, a couple of the homies is down there, you know." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I said, "All right, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call you back." I called him back. And I'm sitting there, at the phone, I calls him back. And he says, "Yo, we on our way to come get you." I got a chill just now, just telling you.
Yeah, I got a chill just now. You said that. I'm goosebumps.
He said, "We on our way to come get you." I said, "Come on, man, with the bull.
Yeah, you playing. Come on, man.
Stop playing." So he was like, "Bruh, the judge said immediate release, discharge. All charges are thrown out." He said, "We coming to get you right now." So I'm sitting there, I'm holding this phone. And he like, yo, you still on the phone, but I'm holding the phone. I don't go get up and pack no cell. I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? So he said, "Yo, we on our way." I said, "All right, but I'm telling you that denial and not trusting the system sets in so deep that I hung the phone up and never moved. I sat there. Because I was in denial. I was like, they ain't not, something is going to happen, bro. Something is going to happen, and I'm not going to get out. And sure enough, it did. Sure enough, it did. They came up to get me, and the warden at the time said, "No, we can't release him because the orders didn't coincide." So my lawyer up there arguing with them like, he just got, the judge released him from court. So what do you mean the orders they don't coincide? What happened was the judge sent an order up to the DOC, but he sent a different order to the prison. So it was a blessing in my time of being incarcerated. I met a guy who used to be a former senator. We became very close. His wife is a sitting senator right now. She's a senator right now. And my daughter got in contact with them. They had rented out the, what is it called? Ruth's Chris, the restaurant, for me to have a dinner. And they were on their way from Harrisburg to Philly. My daughter called them and told them what was going on. That lady got on the phone and made a phone call. And I always gonna give him a shout out, but it was to Sharif Street. Sharif Street got on the phone and called the president judge. And the president judge called up to the DOC and said, "Release him from prison. I have the order right here. He's to be discharged from prison. And if you keep him in there and something was to happen to him, you'll be liable."
And that's the famous video we see you walking out of the prison and your family sitting right there.
With my family right there, and I got the Browns on. And you know what's funny? And I'm going to say this real quick. What's funny is I was strolling through the comments, and you know there's a dude that said in the comments that was a fake picture because you can't leave the DOC in their Browns.
I was going to say that. I saw you leave because you had everything on.
Everything on. My man got that in his office right now because I use that when I talk to the kids. When I talk to the kids, I ask them, this is what you want your life to be. a set of Browns and boots.
And now you're home now, and you're back into society, and you're around your family. What's the most important memory that you have now that you're back home? What's the most important memory, like being out on the streets?
It's one of the memories that I can say that I feel as though it was important, but it was sad. I got out. Well, it was two. I got out that day, and I chose to go see my mom. My mom lived in Jersey. So I went to go see my mother, and she didn't recognize me. She didn't know who I was.
Wow.
Because prior to that, she hadn't seen me in about 4 or 5 years because of her health. She wanted to come see me, but I would tell her no.
Now, did she suffer from, some type of issues where she can't recognize?
It was early on. It was early on.
Dementia?
Dementia and Alzheimer's. So she didn't recognize me, and it was a video of it, but I wasn't gonna put that on social media. Where I sat on the side of her bed, and they was asking like, "Mom, that's your son," and she told him. She said, "Nah, my son in jail. That ain't my son. He in jail." And until I took her hands and I put her hands on my face, and she rubbed her hands across my face, and then she said, "It is you." That was a deep moment for me, And then we just started laughing and talking, but I had to leave to go because they had the reservations at Ruth Chris for me. So my niece, who my father was living with, my father was 102 years old.
Wow.
And he was living with her. So I called my niece. I said, "Listen, first thing in the morning, I'll be to see my pop. Tell him I'm coming." She said, "He knows. I told him that you was home." And he said, "Okay, that's good." My father died that night. So I never got to see him alive. So only when I saw him, he was in the bed. Looked like he was asleep. But he died that night. And my only silence I had about that is my niece told me, he smiled when he heard that I was home.
Wow.
And he passed. Allah took him that night. But
wow.
One of the good things that came from also that came from that is the first time I was able to get all my grandkids together. I had 6 grandkids, and I was able to be in a room with all of them.
If you're looking for home care for your loved one, it's a company called KEV Home Care. They have the best customer service. They provide the best aids. They provide top dollar pay. They do everything that you need for your loved one. If you have a loved one that's in need of a home care, they can assist you. Contact them now for best pay, your medical, dental, 401k, vacation pay, all this stuff. You contact them right now, and they'll be able to help you. Their number is 267-666-2568. Call now. KEV Home Care.
Because a lot of what I do today is not only for other people's kids, youth, but it's for them to save them too.
Exactly.
So that's why I formulated my organization called Just Better Men, to deal with the traumas of the youth, those who are out here with this gun violence, killing each other over trolling and some of the dumbest reasons.
Yeah.
But that was my reason, one of my reasons for doing that. Losing my son and trying to save my grandkids. And if I can save somebody else's kid in the midst of that, Allah Musta'an.
Now, I know we had you here a long time, and I know you got to go, but I'm gonna ask you a question. What message, what's the most important message that you can give to the youth, for those out there who maybe living in life of crime or someone who may be looking to or around or they're just around it and they don't know how to walk away, you know, what advice would you have for someone, you know, in that predicament?
Just know for sure that it's real. What they are trying to do to us, black, brown, and even some Caucasians, it's real, you know, and it's even more real than in our times because now they, you know, they're going to get you without reason. You understand? So, but my advice to a lot of the youth is when you have a person in front of you who served time in the penitentiary, who did time, real time in jail, and they're giving you game about what not to do to go to the penitentiary, give them some time and listen. Because we lived that life. What y'all are doing now, we did 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's just revolving doors. It's just keep going around. You're not doing it no different. At the end of the day, your results are the same. Either you dying or you going to jail for a lot of years. So when we take our time out to try to tell you to stop doing what you're doing, we carry guns, we use guns, we sold drugs. You know, we did the things that y'all, you know, are trying to do. The end result is you're going to die or you're going to the penitentiary. We can't stop you from dying because Allah going to take you when He want to take you. It's already written. But we can try to curb your destiny to the point where we can tell you things that may change your way of thinking to the point where you put that gun down or you try to remove yourself from certain areas where you know that the possibility of you either shooting somebody or getting shot is big. You know, we don't just talk to be talking. We're not burnt out old heads.
Exactly.
We're not. We just some people that just seeing what you are about to see, and we trying to steer you in a different direction.
Yo, so listen, take heed to the message. You know, that message was really, really sincere, and I felt it.
The message seems like it hit me hard.
Yeah,
like he was talking to me just now.
Yeah, we have to, you know, we keep playing ourselves in the same rabbit hole, you know, that's been going on, you know. And my thing, like I always said, you know, at one time in my life, I was a poison to society. You know, I was a poison to society. To change the narrative, I want to be the antidote to cure the sickness of society. A friend of mine uses an analogy that if you go to a drug rehab, the first person you talk to is not a doctor. It's not a doctor, not a custodian, none of that. The first person you talk to is a recovering addict. Because that recovering addict knows where you've been and where you're going if you don't straighten up.
exactly.
So these are the people that you talk to. And I'm that person. He's that person. Everybody in this room is that person because we experience things and we're trying to give back to, you know, to society and try to help you.
Yeah. So listen, take heed to that message. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, that's it for me.
What about you? What?
But you got a platform where they can find you at?
Oh yeah, justbettermen.org. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Instagram as the original black, _original_black. On Facebook, I'm under Amir Bowman. We're doing a book bag giveaway tomorrow at the 2600 block of Silver. I'm collabing with the Grow Inc. 26 organization. that organization was formulated by a very dear friend of mine who died on a motorcycle, Baby Ray, Rahimullah. And come on out tomorrow at 1. We're giving out book bags, and we're just gonna have some fun, and just trying to get back to the community. But like I said, justbettermen.org, the Original Black, and Amir Bowman on Facebook.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. It's Tales from the Jails.